Today, I'm going to show you how to make a little mummy. Now, for this activity, you will need some black construction paper. And you can see I took my black construction paper and I've cut it in half because you don't need a very big piece of construction paper. So I'm going to cut my construction paper in half, so you'll need some scissors too. You can have a grown-up help you with this part if it's a little tricky. I just fold it in half and then I cut it. Because you're going to need a kind of smaller piece of paper. So this is what your mummy's going to go on. And then I took some Tagboard and I cut that in half too. If you don't have Tagboard, you can just use regular paper too. And then I drew the outline of a person. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can see mine is not very detailed, but it's there. Now the next part's a little tricky. You might need some help from a grown-up because what you're going to do is you're going to cut the person out. So this part can be a little tricky. So you might need a little help. And if you don't need help, good for you. That's great too. And your mommy can really look however you want. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine did. I just did a very simple outline. I'm cutting it out. I just did little mitten hands because mummy fingers were probably all wrapped up together. And cutting its head out now. Almost done. Other hand. And then now I have the outline of a mummy. So next I'm going to take a black marker and I'm just going to draw a few lines. Now, how many lines you do will determine how many pieces you have to glue down. So it just depends what you want your mummy to look like. I'm going to do this one really simple. You can see I did kind of a lot of lines on this mummy. This one I'm going to do really simple just for the sake of time so that you don't have to watch me cut every single line. So I'm going to draw some lines on my mummy body. And another thing you can do is you could draw lines but not cut them all out. So maybe I'll draw some extra lines just so it looks extra mummy-like. And they don't have to be perfect. So you can see here I drew some lines. I think on this mummy, I'm not going to cut them all out. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to cut along a few of the lines. Then I'm going to glue it onto my paper to make it look like a mummy. So I'm just going to cut on a few of the lines today so that you can understand the idea behind the project, but not have to watch me glue so many pieces on. All right. So I just cut a few of the pieces out, and now I'm going to take a glue stick, and this part is like a puzzle. Now, you might need a grown-up to help you, or you can try to do it yourself, because what you're going to do is you are going to glue the mummy back together on your piece of black paper, but it's not going to be touching all the way. You can see there's going to be space between the pieces, and that is going to give it a very mummy-like feel. And guess what, friends? It's okay if it's not perfect when you glue it back together. If some pieces are a little funny, that's all right, because mummies are not perfect looking. That is for sure. So I've got a few of my pieces lined up here. And then I'm going to take a glue stick. You can use white glue if you want. I think for this project, it's a little easier to use a glue stick. And I am going to put the glue on the back of each piece, and then I'm going to glue it down. You could also put the glue on the paper and glue it down. So I'm now putting my mummy back together on the black construction paper. So some of you might need a little help. Some of you can probably do this on your own. It really just depends how much you've been doing this kind of project and puzzles and things like that. Now I'm gluing the pieces back together, leaving a little space so it looks very mummy-like. And I don't remember which direction this piece goes, but that's okay. Just gonna glue it all back on here. It's very windy. I don't know if you can hear that or not. It's very windy in my apartment today. All right, and then I'm going to put the feet on last. And ta-da! Oh, make sure you use enough glue because you don't want it to roll off, which is what's happening with a few of my pieces. It's a mummy. You can see this one. I didn't cut every line, but I did draw lines to make it very mummy-like. This one, I cut a lot of lines. So it really just depends how you want to do it. Now last, I did sticker eyes on this mummy, which if you got an art bag, maybe you have a few sticker eyes, but you could also do googly eyes, or maybe you just want to draw some eyeballs on your mummy. And then I like to do a mouth. I like to get a red marker and do a little mouth. I think this mummy's going to be surprised. And there is your mummy. Now friends, we're going to learn that they also mummified cats in ancient Egypt. So guess what? If you wanted to, you could make a mummy cat instead. I just did a head. You could do a whole kitty body. You could do it however you want. So you don't just have to do people. You could do mummy animals too. So I hope you have fun making mummies, and I'll see you on Zoom. Bye.